Pueblo, Brian Vallo.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to New Mexico, to Albuquerque. I was asked to provide a blessing to start the conference this morning. So I ask you to join me. I'm going to recite the blessing in my language, my own language. I'm from Acoma, Pueblo. I think some of you are visiting Acoma this coming Friday. So please join me in your own way of offering some words of gratitude and forgiveness and just being thankful. Okay. You may stand if you wish. Emma Nazi Shana Shanishtit, Miss Asiukustit Puko, Sa, Dinin of the Dokutsash, Nine, Nishtit Ayut, Dawa Eka and Enaka, Kayu, Komatsaku Kaina, Hemek, Dea, Anishtit, Trotiakuma, He Kaina, Amus de Atrana, Atsanos, Ashtit Hearts, it's Itiam, Saistotina, Amus Chitrana, Kaikaunama, Kaikuanama. Show Kaime Bameona to Ersako Omas Utina Tiawa Tranit Meona seats our scamatsi, Amusni Atra Natua Drummers, Saish Hanotated Setimish, how Enaxi Intisha Asti Drum and Hipasta Agnostais Amusti Triatrana, Kosho Kainata, Oikayus at the Nazi Sepsi, as Nazi Shaokinitimish, Kaimi Heme Hanato Nazi Sepsi, Tainaxi, Kukaina, Ayawatamazin, and the old Tratsi Drummer, Show Bano, and Mehawit Dash Nights, Estina, go to na umasina trawa tranitsi de marchatsina traiwa tranitsi kaiwa tranit hopa show stag anetsi ekutai atsna na higher sitai washmatsi otrana the gas nazi te queers the hati nazi skama skatsem as hawesi tawatsi ptepsi ko hawetsi tawatsi haweptekwe Barsa si uts ayum si na trawa tranit. Esho kaime to esen sieko me ona tsana mai ku kai trani at haushani tu henat her sina shouti akuma barsa amus chi trana hat se wait it good chat o good chat o saitsi kashumitrat eme barsa sto sina amus chi trana da shaina shane stetim es to ma da kai na si tu kachamik kai na hosi uita an si gut frau hena patu esen sina hemetsi kra yani kra kawa it kra timi kra it at hemetsi and but to us not see seven as a satsnak but see to it mit shetai ayu kutsina ta sewa pets and it ba hey atsina stone kutsi hano atsmi kutsi sha you timsti sha hano timsti par size na amusti hey kutsina amus trana da hin ma sha so eme o sha trana ustis da ahusti sho da an da ku da ja tsina hopa ja it's out. Thank you. I just want to share that in my prayer, it's customary for us to always give thanks for the day, the rising of the sun, and all of the blessings that are bestowed upon us each and every day. And I just ask our Creator and the spirits who guide us in our thought process that you all, during this convening, are granted with the energy, the foresight, good health, and everything that is good while you are here for this special gathering. And I want to extend my gratitude to the folks of Americans for the Arts for inviting me to join you today, and I wish you a great conference. Thank you very much.
Art is essential because it's like the most human thing that we do.
It is what binds us together. It's what gives us pride in our identity.
It lets us see our future. It lets us see ourselves. It lets us see, warts and all, where we are and where we could be.
The arts can sometimes be a megaphone and sometimes be a microscope. I think that's why it's one of the most important tools for social change.
It's how we can campaign, it's how we can protest, it's how we can collectively come together and say something.
It's $1.2 trillion industry. It's 5.4 million jobs. 76% of Americans believe the arts are personally important to them. This is something that we all deeply believe in and care about and can get behind.
And there's no point of gathering data if you don't plan to do anything with it. I think success looks like meeting people where they are and showing up like, hey, I'm not playing around with you. I actually care about it and I will see it through.
We're a national organization. We rub elbows on the Hill. But what I think is most powerful is the ability to get in community. We can hear the stories, we can connect with the people, and then we can amplify the needs of community in a way that I don't think any other organization can.
The mission is to elevate the arts so it's on the forefront of everybody's mind as a quintessential, crucial part of a healthy democracy.
We have been in a position where we have had to preserve, particularly with a proposal to eliminate the NEA, the NEH, and arts education at the Department of Education. At each time, because of arts advocates, we either maintained funding and then we actually increased funding in most of those areas. And that's something I'm just so proud of.
We're coalescing around a mission to really support the artists, the people, the organizations, and the structures really that support the arts across this country. And we could not deliver on that mission without engaging lots lots of partners, central to movement building and coalition building that's required for advocacy.
One of our goals is convening arts leaders, so people who are emerging leaders just starting as arts administrators to executive directors to retired people. It's all about bringing people together who have a shared passion for and understanding of the arts and giving them the opportunity to connect and to figure out what is the future of arts and culture in America.
We have a very ambitious mission here at the Music Center, and that's to enrich the lives of all LA County residents. We could not do that alone. We need to work with partners who not only bring their distinct culture, artistry, discipline, but they also bring their communities with them.
Partnerships are really at the core of AFTA's mission, and we're really fortunate that we have a lot of partners across the map. We have partnerships in terms of our local level advocacy organizations, state level advocacy organizations, and also a network of service organizations that really provide sort of direct services to the field and represent sort of different interests across the ecosystem.
It is really important that we are all on the same page as to what is important policy and what does important advocacy look like.
We need to advocate for all the ways that it supports everybody. It is not an extra, it's an every.
Every person deserves to have those senses of belonging. We all need our thing, and arts is a thing for so many people.
It's the beauty of the arts, of music and dance and visual arts, performing literature, that keeps us in the light and keeps us putting our best foot forward.
Investing in the arts, right, is going to help propel so many other different things from economic development, public safety, community health and well-being, and budgets or values. And we need to make sure that the arts are resourced.
Please welcome to the stage CEO of Americans for the Arts, Aaron Harkey.
Hi. Y'all made it. It's so good to see you. It really, really, really is. Good morning and welcome to AFTACON 2026. I want to begin by expressing my deep gratitude to all of you for being here in Albuquerque. It's such a privilege to gather with this community at a moment when the role of the arts and culture is both urgently needed and full of possibility. And personally, I just want to say how happy I am to be here with all of you. At our last AFTACON, I was only a few months into this role, and I was still very much finding my footing. But over the past year, I've had the opportunity to travel across the country, meeting artists and organizers, educators, advocates, civic leaders, and cultural workers in communities of every size. I've seen firsthand the creativity, the resilience, and the care that exists across this field. There's something especially meaningful about seeing so many of those conversations and relationships and communities gathered together in one place. So thank you again for being here. We are also deeply grateful to our local host committee, whose leadership and partnership have made this convening possible. Secretary Deborah Garcia-Igriego, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, Dr. Shel Sanchez, and of course, Mayor Tim Keller, and frankly, too many friends to name here. One of the things that has stood out to me most about New Mexico is the strength of its civic and cultural leadership. And their work has grounded us in this place in a way that will shape every conversation that we have over the next coming days. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge our 45 wonderful Pathway Committee members who have been working diligently over the past 6 months across 9 pathways to curate breakout sessions and the incubators. Their expertise, connections, and dedication has led to an incredible lineup for the week, and I'm excited for all of you to get to experience that, and you'll hear more from them, I think, on Friday. We're also deeply grateful to our sponsors whose support makes this gathering possible and whose partnership reflects a shared commitment to the future of the arts sector. Our lead sponsor, the New Mexico Department of Cultural Affairs, has been an extraordinary partner in bringing us here, along with our local host, the City of Albuquerque Department of Arts and Culture. This conference is also made possible through the support from the Cultural Planning Group, the Knight Foundation, Lord Cultural Resources, National Arts Strategies, New Mexico Arts, and your part-time controller, with additional support from New Mexico Rail Runner Express and Visit Albuquerque. Each of you is helping to sustain the conditions for this work to happen, not just here, but across the country. And I also want to acknowledge something especially excited about for this year. For the first time, AFTACON is welcoming a cohort of college students to the conference. Their presence here matters deeply because the future of this field is not somewhere far off, it's already here. And we're especially grateful to the Americans for the Arts Foundation, as well as the William Lair Professional Development Fund, for helping support both our student cohort and our broader attendance support program. Their generosity has made it possible for more people to be a part of this gathering and these conversations, and we're deeply thankful for that investment in the future of the field. I also want to extend a sincere appreciation to our board of directors. Your leadership and care and steady guidance make this organization stronger and more accountable to the field we serve. Can you guys stand? I can see a few of you. Please look for them. I know that they're excited to talk to you. I don't see Edgar, but I also want to just acknowledge our outgoing board chair, Edgar Smith. Edgar has shepherded Americans for the Arts through a period of real transition and change with clarity, steadiness, and a deep respect for the field, and his leadership has helped position this organization for what comes next, and we are profoundly grateful for his service and commitment. Can we give Edgar a round of applause? So as we begin our time together, I want to name what I believe is at the heart of this gathering. AFTACON is not just a convening to share ideas. It is a space to practice the future together. We are here to ask harder questions, to test assumptions, to learn from one another across differences, and to strengthen the relationships that make collective action possible. We are also here to stay rooted in place. Being in New Mexico matters. This is a place where culture is not an add-on to life, but a living daily practice where history, community, land, and creativity are deeply intertwined. And as we move through these days together, I hope that we carry that with us, not as a backdrop, but as a teacher. Because the future of arts and culture will not be built in abstraction, it will be built in communities, in local ecosystems, in collaboration across sectors, and in the patient work of organizing for impact over time. And now, it's my honor to introduce someone who embodies that connection between national leadership, local partnership, and lived commitment to the field. She serves on our board and has helped steward the local host committee that welcomed us here and represents our lead sponsor. Please join me in welcoming Secretary Deborah Garcia-Griego, Cabinet Secretary for the New Mexico Department of Cultural Affairs.
Good morning, AFTACON, and welcome to New Mexico. And for those of you that know, yes, that walk-on music might have been just a little bit of an attempt to manifest. It is a genuine honor to stand here at the opening of AFTACON 2026. To our colleagues joining us from around the country, welcome to New Mexico. We are proud and thrilled to have you here. I want to begin by saying how deeply meaningful it is to see so many people from across the country here in a place that I love so very much. New Mexico is not just where I work. It is my soul. It is the place my family has called home for 15 generations. It is a place that has shaped who I am, how I understand culture, and my belief that creativity lives in everyday life. I must start with gratitude for everyone who has made AFTACON 2026 possible. To our amazing partners at the City of Albuquerque Arts and Culture, including especially Dr. Shel Sanchez, and Visit Albuquerque, thank you so much for the care and commitment you have given to make this gathering possible. And to my beloved colleagues at the New Mexico Department of Cultural Affairs, particularly the extraordinary team at New Mexico Arts, who have helped steward this conference from idea to reality. To Aaron Harkey and all of the incredible staff at AFTA for their dedication, their hard work, and vision, and most of all, for finally bringing AFTACON to New Mexico. I do not joke when I say I have been trying to get AFTACON to come to New Mexico for 30 years, and Aaron Harkey, thank you for making my dream come true. This convening is only possible because of the collective efforts of all of the partners, and the joy of this opening moment is yours as much as anyone. We are honored to serve as lead sponsor for this convening because we believe in what it represents. Not just a gathering of professionals, but a sustained commitment to the idea that arts and culture are essential to how communities thrive. And what excites me most about this gathering is not that it is happening in isolation. It is happening in relationship to place. It is happening in a state where artists, cultural leaders, indigenous nations, communities, and institutions are constantly negotiating how culture is preserved, evolved, and shared. And so I hope over the next few days, you do more than just attend sessions, though it's very important. But I hope you feel New Mexico. I hope you listen to it. I hope you let it challenge and inspire the way you think about your own communities and the work you are doing there. Because at its core, this is what arts and culture does. It connects us to place. It connects us to each other. And it helps us imagine futures we cannot fully see, but can already begin to build together. And we need that future focus now more than ever. Better days are ahead, and we are part of making that happen. And in New Mexico, that is not just an aspiration, it is the foundation from which we build. When you walk through this city, when you experience what this state has to offer, I hope that you feel it is not just a stage, but a context for the conversations we are about to have. Because I think this is what this convening is asking of all of us. Not just to exchange ideas, but to stay open to what place can and does teach us, allowing the communities we visit to challenge and expand how we see our own. We are at a moment where that imagination matters more than ever. Communities across the country are asking big questions about identity, belonging, resilience, and how we move forward together. And I believe that the arts are not just part of that answer, they are essential to it. So I am glad you are here. I am glad we are doing this work together. And thank you again for coming. Please enjoy your week in my beloved home state.
We reflected on the things we collect and hold on behalf of the people of this city. Plants and animals, fish and insects, books and media, artwork and history, Photos and manuscripts, exhibits and explorations, imagination and science, partnerships and public airways, stages and stories, historic buildings and memories made, indoor gatherings and outdoor events, festivals and even parades. The many places we learn, celebrate, and share are all a reflection, or should I say, collection of our culture and our creativity. Arts are creative expressions of who we are, and culture is our way of life. Culture as individuals, culture as groups of people, and culture as an activity. These are all connected. The musician, the music we love, make, and share, and the concerts we attend. In short, culture is what we cultivate. The things we make and make believe are all culture. Our creative expressions of these things are the arts. As the Department of Arts and Culture, we are happy to celebrate the arts and culture of our community and of the individuals within our community.
Please welcome to the stage the Director of the Department of Arts and Culture for the City of Albuquerque, Dr. Shel Sanchez.
Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine.
Good morning, everyone. I can barely see you because of these lights, so just make a little bit of noise. Awesome. If you're from Albuquerque, make a lot of noise. All right. If you're visiting Albuquerque, make some noise. All right. If it's your first time in Albuquerque, make some noise. All right. Okay. And how many of you are definitely coming back to Albuquerque after this conference? All right. So I think my work here is done. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm waiting for my teleprompter to move, unless you really expect me to remember. I'm the Director of Arts and Culture for the City of Albuquerque. And on behalf of our city leadership and the many artists, culture bearers, educators, and creative workers who love and shape this community every day, many of whom are in this room, we are truly honored to have everyone gathered here for AFTACON. You just heard the voice of poet Hakeem Bellamy, and he says that Albuquerque has an open-hearted horizon, a place where artists make careers out of thin air, and a place where you'll find la crema de las creatives. Albuquerque sits at complex intersections of many cultural lineages that have been sustained across centuries, actually millennia, of peoples living in this high desert. This is reflected across the city's creative expressions and cultural spaces, in our murals, textiles, music, dance, poetry, jewelry. They all serve as a mosaic of public record and public voice. Artists and makers here are preserving generational knowledge and experimenting with new forms and mediums. Community organizations use creative practice to support youth development, workforce pathways, neighborhood investment, and public health and healing. Albuquerque's arts and cultural department facilities are staffed by more than 400 employees, many of whom are here today, and many of whom are creatives themselves. Across our 3 museums, 2 theaters, the Route 66 Visitors Center, 1.5% for public art. I know a lot of you have 1%, but we have 1.5%. That's right, applaud for that. 19 public libraries, a permanent trust fund to provide biannual funding for community arts and cultural programs, free large-scale outdoor concerts, a world-class biopark with zoo, aquarium, botanic gardens, and so much more. There is a special value in gathering in a city where creativity is not separate from civic life, but an integral part of it. As you move through the conference, I hope you experience the city directly, and you step into the neighborhoods. You stream our local music, spend time in cultural spaces. Pay attention to how art and stories are carried in the landscape itself. I am here and I'm in this position because I love Albuquerque's creatives and creativities. I love the poems and the poets and the storytellers and art makers who live and make here every day. I love Albuquerque, our Chile. Some of you have Chile. I love our Chile. Sopapillas, our coffee shops, the roadrunners who live in my yard, and our sky. Yes, we have a different sky here. Forget the science. Our sunrises, our sunsets, and river, mountains, mesas, cottonwoods, and our dirt. I love living in the desert. Poet and writer V.B. Price calls Albuquerque a city at the end of the world. And of our city, he says, our struggle must be to reconcile the forces of global change with those of local rootedness, character, and well-being. I feel and live this work every day in our city. And I believe that the imperative of local rootedness, character, and well-being to be central to the work of arts and culture bearers everywhere. Amidst complexity and change, the arts remain one of our most powerful connections to history, to one another, and to the beauty of our shared experience. The conversations, relationships, and connections formed here at this conference matter. Art and creative expression matter. On this first morning of the conference, I offer you a poetic blessing. In this poem, you, my art and culture colleagues, are the givers, and art is our home. This is an excerpt from A Prayer of Thanks for the Givers by Michelle Otero, a former Albuquerque Poet Laureate. You make beauty. You make seeds, make roots. You give because la cultura cura, culture cures. Because this is home. You give to come home, to make a new home. Familiar and ever-changing, a home that makes the world bigger and smaller at the same time. You give who you are, and it makes us who we are. Gracias y gracias. And now, it is my honor to introduce our three-term mayor, also my boss, who has consistently championed arts and culture as central to Albuquerque's identity and future. A mayor who doesn't just say yes to arts, he says, more please. Join me in welcoming the mayor of Albuquerque, Tim Keller.
All right, well, good morning, AFTACON. It is wonderful to see you all here in Albuquerque. If you didn't already get this from our cultural director and our cabinet secretary, we really are happy to have you here. And as I think the only mayor in the country who majored in art history, thank you. That is by far the loudest applause I've ever gotten for art history. My professors, they would have loved that. That's great. We really, though, it's like the one conference I really wanted was AFTACON. So this one, it took 3 terms to get it, but we're glad it's here right now. So what I'm going to do here with you this morning is a couple of things. First, I do want to let you know I'm so excited they have teleprompters. You know, as a politician, I've always wanted to use a teleprompter, and I've never been able to. And ironically, I didn't know they were going to be here, and I have no prepared remarks. So, this is just it's going right through my hand. There's nothing there. So what I'm going to do first is, I think, tell you in general, actually, a little bit about the power of art in this place. And then we're going to talk about one of the specific people actually behind that power today. But the story of Albuquerque, and the Burqueños here are going to have to bear with a little bit of history, which they all know. But for those of you, and many of you from out of town, it's important to reflect a little bit on the connection between art and this place, because it is in some ways unique. And so first and foremost, this is the city at the crossroads. Welcome to the city at the crossroads. We have many roads that cross here. And I'll go through some of them with you. But the beginning has to do with what Shell articulated with respect to our landscape. So we have an amazing indigenous community here, are the pueblos that are around us. And you're going to learn all about them if you haven't already. They are still in the same place physically where they were since time immemorial. That's a term that's used in our indigenous communities. But the point is, why were people, any people, why is humanity in this place in the high desert? The fundamental reason is very simple. There is a river, and where there's river, there is life. But there is also a little gap in those beautiful mountains, the Sandia Mountains. And so as Burqueños know, between the manzanos, those are apples, and the sandias, which are watermelons, the Sandia and the Manzano Mountains, there's a little canyon called Tijeras Canyon. That is the ancient trade route for our indigenous communities. We exist here because we're at the crossroads of a river and a trade route going the other direction. So this was the birth of human civilization right here in the high desert. Now this story continues really into the present day in this sense. First, of course, we had another road come through our town. It was called Camino Real. Camino Real was the road from Mexico City to Santa Fe. And so it went along the river on that axis. And again, Albuquerque became one of the trading hubs for the Spanish Empire when we were part of this, literally part of Spain. I think everyone here kind of knows their history, but remember, like, New Mexico was Spanish first in terms of, you know, America and all that other stuff. So that is because of Camino Real. And if you go to Central, which is another road, which is Route 66, so our roads are crossing now in time, right? You can actually see where Camino Real and Central cross. That's today 4th Street and Central. And this is actually something that we know well here in New Mexico. And it's because Camino Real is the reason why we have all these different Spanish communities, including Albuquerque, that developed along points on the Rio Grande that also intersected with trade routes going the other direction. So through this, of course, we have a massive cultural upheaval. And without going too much into history, we have Pueblo communities that were then conquered and colonized by Spain. So now we have two cultures in this place, in this city at the crossroads. And if we skip ahead to some of the legacy of that, we know that even when America came into being, and America was sort of the last major crossroads coming through in Route 66, we had a retention of culture. So even the first Americans that came here through the Santa Fe Trail, which also went through here, or later on Route 66, noticed this place was wildly different than anywhere else in the country. And it was different because of its culture. Because even back then, we had retained a strong indigenous culture that is still here with us today, where our Pueblo languages are still regularly spoken, where the homes that people live in are still the homes that they lived in thousands of years ago, physically in the same place. They were not displaced. And then we have our Spanish communities, which actually now continue in many ways to govern things like our water system. This is what's known as the acequia system. And all forms of government and our politics are largely dominated by Hispanic traditions. So we've been this city at the crossroads of culture, of indigenous culture, of Spanish culture, and then of course now, American culture. Now, that might sound a little odd to folks, but as you experience Albuquerque, I think you will see that these cultures, it's a little bit different than having culture reflected in a museum or being reflected necessarily in some particular retrospective. Our culture is alive and well, and you will feel it all around you. Even the architecture of this hotel, this is not like some touristy hotel. This is actually how a lot of our houses look and how most of the hotels look in the city. You have Spanish tin work on the roof. This is from our Spanish heritage culturally. And you have the actual architecture is Puebloan architecture mixed with what's called territorial architecture. This building is literally a reflection of being the city at the crossroads of culture. This is so regular here, New Mexicans don't even realize it. You're gonna eat our food, and you're gonna say, it's not really Mexican food. And we're gonna be like, yeah, it's New Mexican. Our food is a reflection of being at the crossroads of culture. What it actually is indigenous ingredients applied to typically Mexican recipes with a Spanish influence. So it is actually very different than traditional Mexican food. If you really think about things like blue corn, or you think about things like green chili and red chili, which are prominent in so much of what we eat every day. Now, that story, though, is fundamentally a story of resilience. We believe, and I think it's fundamentally true, that at our city at the crossroads, we not only preserved our past cultures, we actually live them every day, and we celebrate them, and we champion them. Literally, being part of New Mexico and living in New Mexico is literally understanding and participating daily in the ongoing cultural traditions of our Native American communities around us and our Spanish heritage. It's almost in every meal we eat. It's in most of the buildings we go to. And most importantly, of course, it's in our families. We've been a minority-majority state since we were founded. That phrase doesn't even really make sense to us because that's the way it was. That's also why we say the border crossed us. We didn't cross the border. Because it's true. So it's also part of our family. This culture has been carried on primarily for two reasons why it is still thriving in New Mexico. And those two reasons are, number one, families, because look, at the end of the day too, there's, families come from all sorts of backgrounds, and you have marriages from all these parts of history, and this is who we are as a people. But it's also because of the power of art. Art for us is more than an aesthetic beauty. Art for us is survival. Art for us is how we kept that indigenous culture. It's how we kept that Hispanic culture, and it's how we keep it alive today. Art for us is healing, because behind that very simple history that I showed you, we actually have a really traumatic history. If you think about colonization, if you go to the Albuquerque Museum and you look at the statues out front and you reflect on the artwork between the Native American sculpture out front and then the Hispanic artwork right next to it. I'm going down a long path for New Mexicans. I got to stop this path. It's the path of Oñate, if you were wondering where I was going. The point is this: art is also healing. And for us, our history is so strong that actually it's almost more of like, instead of a scar, the trauma that we've been through historically, it's more of a scab. And sometimes actually we pick it and it bleeds. And so this is actually what happened in Albuquerque during COVID. We were fighting over statues too, like a lot of folks in the South. But it was a statue of a conquistador. And it was a statue right next to it of a Native American woman. So make sure and check out the rest of that story out in front of our Albuquerque History Museum. But as we go forward, we know how we were able to pass through that phase. And it's a phase that I'm sure will come right back. But it is, again, through arts, teaching us how to heal, teaching us how to respect, teaching us how to celebrate our own history, our own culture, and our own lived experience. That is the power of art in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So behind that power, each and every day, though, are the artists and the people who work in the arts right here in our city. Some of them are here, some of them you're going to meet. But also there is, in particular at the city, there is one person whose job it is to actually carry on that legacy. A legacy that is now manifest in a city department director job, but is really a reflection of that city at the crossroads And it does come with it some challenging burdens, a little bit. The burden of healing, the burden of dealing with trauma, but also the burden of celebrating who we are and the joy that comes with it every day. And this is where we get to drop a little bit of a surprise on y'all. We're going to take a moment because our director who you just heard from, Shell, she is retiring. In fact, this is her last week. She stayed an extra week just for you because she wanted to close out AFTACON. So it is because of her leadership, her talent, her vision, and her tenacity that you get to enjoy and experience so much of what being in this city for this particular conference is all about. And I know I'm grateful for her leadership. She is the longest serving director in the recorded history of Albuquerque for arts and culture. And so wonderfully in partnership with Americans for the Arts, and I really appreciate them for working with us on this. Shell, we are going to surprise you today with a Lifetime Achievement Award. So we're going to cue a little video reflection here in just a minute and then invite Shell back up here. But this is the Selena Roberts Autumn Award that recognizes an individual working in the arts and arts management who's made meaningful contributions in her local community and who exemplifies extraordinary leadership in the arts. I couldn't think of a more fitting recipient. And so together with Americans for the Arts, we want to honor Shell this morning with that award. But first, let's watch a little video. As you can tell, Shell is legendary. We all love her so much. I think what we should do is let's give the AV crew a chance to dig that up. And what we're going to do is actually bring Shell up here and give her the award. And if we have the video ready, we'll do it after. But I would just say this a little bit in lieu of that. You know, every city is different. Here in Albuquerque, she has managed our zoo. She alluded to that. It is world class. Our library system and our museum system. And she's also done it in a way that has infused art as a cornerstone of the definition of city, as led in this case by the city government. But that includes all of the things that she touched on, adding that 0.5% for the arts. This is a big deal. It's millions of extra dollars for the arts. It's actually paying artists fair wages. That's right. It is putting art on every floor in every public building that the city owns. She even built an art gallery on the first floor right next to the cafeteria, so you have to look at art. And she put the people's history of Albuquerque on the walls around that, so when you're waiting in line, you learn about the city. She has also hired artists directly in management positions. She has done so much to champion the arts each and every day. And she's also, frankly, she's saved a couple of museums. Challenges that we were having. And I think first and foremost, from day one, she's always led with the arts and the creative class first. And that goes all the way to the top. It's not lost on anyone in the city of Albuquerque that arts is a top priority. And it's because of Shell's incredible work. I also want to mention this. Before that, she also had other jobs. She has a PhD in something. I don't even know what. I'm guessing it has to do with art stuff. Education. Perfect for the museum. She has a PhD in education, but she also ran our Hispanic Cultural Center, which if you haven't seen that, that's another amazing thing. So she has actually been doing this for a lifetime. And I have a feeling her final act is still to come. Who knows what she's gonna do next, but she is officially retiring from the city. And also, I am really gonna miss her. She's been with me for 9 years, and she has been a steadfast partner through thick and thin. That means through COVID. That means through Oñate. That means through all sorts of tough challenges that we've had. So with that, Shell, come on up and let's bring up. There you are.
Golly, Aaron, I know you had something to do with this, all of you. Mayor knows I don't like surprises. My whole team knows. Like, that's my only rule. That's my only leadership rule is I don't care what happens. I don't care what went wrong. I don't care what you forgot. I just don't like surprises. Surprise. All right. No, it's a real honor. One of the things I do have to say, like one of the things, very first things I did after I started this job, I think it was like March or April in 2018, I went to Americans for the Arts. So that was however long ago that was, 8 years ago. And I realized that there was this much larger community of arts advocates and really incredible people working at the city and state level. I mean, I knew it intellectually before, but I hadn't been in spaces with them. So it's pretty amazing right now to think back when I first started that job, and I kind of only sort of understood my job at the beginning, like most of our jobs. That was my introduction and real grounding in the work that other people were doing nationally. And 8 years later, here I am, and I really appreciate it. This is really beautiful. I'm not going to cry here. I'm going to go cry in the bathroom. But it does mean a lot. This has been my life's work, to be in education, to be in arts. And this job has meant so much to me because I love my city. I love the things we do here, but I love the impact of arts and artists every single place I go. And so getting this in a room of the people, even if I don't know you, I know your work, and I believe in it as much as you do. So thank you for sharing this with me. And yeah. So, yeah, thanks. Do we really have to watch the video, or can we all move on now? Yeah? All right. Thank you.
Because I know that Dr. Shell Sanchez is a Mary Oliver fan. This poem is Water Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds, and every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go.
You know, I could get really ridiculous in terms of just how important working with her has been in my life, and I think in this department's life. we're just so lucky. We're so lucky that we've had a chance to collaborate and co-create and partner with her, but also to be led by her and to be able to kind of learn from her.
Dr. Shel Sanchez has helped the biopark in so many ways. I think back to the times during COVID and her great leadership throughout COVID and making sure that the animals, the plants, the staff, the community had everything they needed, especially here at the biopark, which presented so many, logistical issues and concerns, but she was such a strong leader throughout that time.
Howdy, Shel. It's me again. I'm so happy for you and proud for your retirement, which just means you're going to be moving on to doing lots of many other things, because that's what you've always done. But a word about our time together at the city. You may remember these guys. They came to say hi and salute, to give you a proper send-off like you did at one time them.
It's almost hard for me to think about how this department ran before Shel, because she set us up so strong now. She made all of us better, and for that, Albuquerque is better. And that's just a direct reflection of her leadership, her vision, and just how deeply she cares about this community.
Every day I walk through the zoo and I see so many happy, smiling members of our community engaging with the animals, learning how they can help. And, Shel was a huge part of that. Her impact here will be felt for generations to come.
You don't look at obstacles or no's as the end of the story. You just are like, how are we going to get around? How are we going to go underneath? How are we going to go over top to find a solution that the community can get behind? And you've done that in so many ways beyond just these statues. And that's what I continue to learn from you.
She believes in people when maybe they don't believe in themselves. And her giving me opportunities over the years really set the path for my career in a whole different way, and I will be forever grateful to her.
Yeah, my favorite memories are just going to be strolling through the biopark on a quiet morning before all the guests got here, before all the crowds filled up, and just enjoying the biopark.
We're going to be okay because of Shel, because Shel has set us up, and she's reminded us all the things that we need to carry forward. So it's going to be hard and it's going to be sad, and I'm going to miss her every day, but she set us up for success.
I'm just thankful for your personal influence on me and for being a model and how to walk that walk with style and flavor and humor. And I'm just grateful for your friendship, and I love you. So.
Thank you, Shel.
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 Thank you, Shel. Thanks, Shel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shel.
Shel, we are so grateful for all of your service to the city of Albuquerque. It's hard to actually underestimate your impact, whether it's literally building new libraries, transforming the zoo. I think about also just putting art in the front of everything and using arts and culture as a way to keep us together during some of our toughest times. I know whether it's adults that go to all our amazing facilities or kids that grow up in a new zoo, a new heritage farm, a new library, all of these things are a credit to your leadership, the longest serving arts and culture director in the history of Albuquerque. Congratulations and thank you so much. All right, well, with that, we're going to hand it back over to your regularly scheduled program. I do want to thank Aaron and AFTACON for coordinating and collaborating with us on this special recognition. And Jay also, we appreciate all his work. And I do, of course, I want to give the artist recognition for her amazing award. That's John Owen, Aurora Borealis Glass. And so with that, enjoy Albuquerque. Come back, come often. We hope to see you soon. Thank you.
We have an origin story. It begins when we emerged from that center place in the earth,
the place we call Sipapu. When we broke through the Earth's mantle, we began walking the land. The people arrived at a bird's nest with 2 eggs. One egg was pure white, and the other speckled. The white egg hatched a macaw, and it flew south and led one group of people to settle in the tropics. The speckled egg hatched a raven that flew north and led our Pueblo people to settle in the Mesa Valleys, rolling hills, and mountain deserts of the Southwest. The Creator then gave us instructions to journey to the 4 corners of our new domain, 4 times counterclockwise, and then 4 times clockwise. These journeys are depicted in migration spirals. After each cycle, we came back to the Sipapu, where we began our journeys anew. What we saw and what we learned added to our collective wisdom. Our clans continued on these epic spiral journeys until they received a sign that they had arrived at a sacred moment and a special place, a place prepared. Here is where our villages would be located. Here is where our people would build their homes, designed and structured around an open ceremonial area where we centered our spiritual worldview. These are our heart places. This is Pueblo Bonito. Pueblo Bonito is at the epicenter of a great Chacoan civilization that flourished 1,000 years ago. It's a village that was built and occupied for over 140 years by our Pueblo people. It was a trading and ceremonial center for people from all over the northern and southern hemispheres. Roadways connected over 150 other Chaco villages or great houses and led to other cultural regions. Its architecture is unique to the world. Building materials were gathered or harvested from distant places. The semicircle layout of the village pays homage to our understanding of time and space. The interplay of light and shadows of the windows, doors, and walls change with solar and lunar alignments. Circular ceremonial clan structures, called kivas, are wayfinding maps of celestial bodies. The Pueblo people of today are descendants of those who walked and built on these lands long ago. These complex scientific elements and relationships instruct the building forms of our contemporary architects today. Our contemporary buildings are shaped from tradition. They continue to embody our identity and values. Our architecture has evolved over time and place. By exercising our self-determination, we have advanced our architectural sovereignty. By nurturing our own Pueblo planners and architects who are masters of innovation and creative design. Architecture is ceremony. This is the restoring of our heart places.
Please welcome to the stage Jamie Bennett, Dr. Shelley Lowe, Dr. Ted Hohola, and Gostosera Guate Paulette Moore.
So Ted, I want to start with you. What is the story we just heard? Tell us a little bit about that.
So, I'm Ted Hohola, and I'm founder and director of the Indigenous Design and Planning Institute, which is part of the School of Architecture and Planning here at the University of New Mexico. I'm from the Pueblo of Isleta, which is 7 lucky minutes south of Albuquerque. That's our casino brand, yeah, so come contribute to our economy. But this special animation was done as part of an exhibit that we had prepared for over 20 years now in order to change the dialogue of how it is that we as modern designers and plannings have really impacted and influenced the way that we look at community, and in particular from what is our basic mission, which is how do we use culture and identity as a way to help inform community development. So as all of the folks have said things about our sense of place, our basic mantra is place knowing. And it really comes from instructions from our elders who said we have to walk the land with our children, because if we don't walk the land with our children, we won't know our stories, we won't know our names, we won't know our language, we won't know our ceremonies, we won't know any of these. So this basic animation, in a sense, sort of begins to lay that out from the idea that architecture is ceremony, because it's much more than just putting things together in the sense of form and function.
That's great, Ted. And Ted's been such an important teacher to so many of us, and thinking about that intertwining of the human history, the natural history, and the built environment, and the way it's been here on these lands since emergence. Now, Paulette, I want to come to you next, and we're going to have a video to introduce you in a second. But before we tee that up, one of the sort of misconceptions that lots of non-Native folks have is that Native folks are one thing. Right? It's all the same people, it's all the same stories, there's just the Native American. But that's not true. So will you tee up the next story that we're gonna watch, your video?
Sure. So Watchkwana Waradu Sewa Guego Gasto Suraguate Ni Young Yats. Hello everyone, I'm Gasto Suraguate Paulette Moore. I'm a Gunyingehaga Mohawk person from 6 Nations of the Grand River, so way up that way, and a frequenter of New Mexico enthusiastically, and Ted is my akchiketa, my little sweetie. So Ted and I experience this very thing because when we go on a walk, Ted looks at the ground. You saw his movie where people are coming up from the ground. My people came from the stars. And we talk about that a lot because I'm always looking up and Ted is always looking down. And it makes for an amazing balance, and we're always kind of celebrating those differences and all that connects us, which is the land and which is knowing our places.
That's great. And we're going to watch a video and say just a word about the animator of the video.
Yes, so both videos are done by a Cherokee animator named Joseph Erb. And we're lucky to share him. He is very involved in Language Any project. He's worked with Wes Studi and is an educator, an amazing artist also on his own. And then this story is our origin story of Sky Woman, but Sky Woman and my mother. And this is all in Gunyingeha. It's all in Mohawk language. And we have our ceremony, you'll hear snippets of our original ceremony of gratitude at the end.
It's beautiful. So with that, let's play the video.
Gariwes yate wageram aondo onwanjase agahage. Nekji ionoderiandarakwe negajija negarant stanu agetnistaha. Danu wagaderiandere nuwa. Danu saderiandere oni. Aguigo on Scott Naji and Dida Wapinuni Nan Guatnicula. Dano Diatini Waradu, Nayetini Staha of Wandra. Etonio Dunhak Nan Guatnicula. Aguigo on Scott Naji and Dida Wapinuni Nan Guatnicula. Dano Diatini Waradu, Negana Gagaruno. Etonio Dunhak Nan Guatnicula. Aguigo on Scott Naji and Dida Wapinuni Nan Guatnicula. Dano Diatini Waradu, Negandrong Supa. Etonio Dunhak Nan Guatnicula.
Love that.
That's my mom.
I think listen to your aunties is my favorite hashtag ever. I think that's absolutely wonderful. Now, Dr. Lowe, Shelley, would love to come to you next.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we're going to ask you to introduce yourself and the organization you're currently stewarding in a second. And to tee that up, one of the other misconceptions that I think a lot of folks have about Native folks is that your ways are sort of old-fashioned, old-timey, a thing that happened a long time ago. It's not contemporary practice. It has nothing to do with this moment, this time. That's absolutely and utterly incorrect. So will you just say a word about who you are and the institution that you lead?
Good. Good morning, everybody. Yat she Shelley Lowe Yanashia Belagana Neshlin Anastasia Tachini Bashichi Belagana Dashache do Traba Dashanale Lo Kantia de Nasha do Santa Fe de Shagan. My name is Shelley Lowe. I'm Navajo. I'm originally from Northeast Arizona, a small town called Ganado. I am president of the Institute of American Indian Arts, which is also known as IAIA. So, for our IAIA alum and family and donors and friends and supporters, I encourage each and every one of you to get out of Albuquerque and come to Santa Fe and see our campus. You're going to get a glimpse of it here in a little clip that we're going to show. This is Craft in America, so for those of you who are familiar with the PBS show, they did a special section on the West, and IAIA was highlighted in this episode of Craft in America. IAIA is what we call the preeminent university for indigenous creativity. It was created in 1962 as a high school program, and it has evolved over time to become this, four-year institution plus 3-year or 3 MFA programs that we offer for low residency students. It's an amazing place where we see students take the teachings that they have, their language, their culture, their ceremonies, their understanding, they put it to use and create these amazing pieces of artwork, films, performances, pottery. We see students doing amazing things every single day on a campus that has some of the most high-tech studios that you will probably ever see in an art museum, and it's all for Native art, Native artists. I do really hope that everybody can come up and visit our campus. We're only about an hour away, but we'll show you a little bit on the video.
Excellent. So let's tee this up and give folks a tease of what they can see if they come to Santa Fe.
Being here really opened my eyes to what art could be. I was able to see that there's actually all sorts of mediums and styles, and geometric abstraction is something I was really drawn to. My current studio practice is ledger drawing. With ledger drawing, our foundation to draw on is antique ledger accounting sheets from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. Our traditional ledger art is very figurative, it's very representational. There are a lot of people, horses, ceremonial scenes. I grew up seeing my father work. He does traditional ledger art, so that's why it's important to me. It's because of my family, it's because it's a way of recording our history. A lot of the geometric forms I'm using are directly influenced by Blackfoot painted lodges. We had a lot of geometric symbols symbolizing mountains, sun, moon. So I'm continuing these geometric forms that have been here in North America for thousands of years, but in a modern way.
What you see here is one step in the process of chilkat weaving, taking the guard hairs of the Janwu, the Alaska mountain goat, and then processing it down into the point where one can spin with it. The Janwu comes from the top of the mountain. And I really, in my own personal practice, view it as being this sort of spiritual being. And so being able to work with it in this regard is, I think, just a huge honor for myself, just to process it, to, kind of have good intention when you're working with it is just highly important. Cholcat weaving is a way to tell a story, a way of honoring tradition, clan histories, a way of connecting ourselves to the land that we're from. Connections like that really kind of keep the momentum going and the inspiration.
What we do as Native people, those words that we use for what we do, we're makers. Being with the community of other Native peers, all learning and experiencing this, making such beautiful work, so inspired, and just that interconnectivity that we have, that's all we have as human beings.
IAI is a place that is in between that contemporary art world and rooted in traditional values and traditional work. And it's a way for us as Native people from all different walks of life, from the city and from the res and from just down the street and from all different ways of seeing the world, there's that underlying core of nativeness that holds us together.
As with any community, you give, but you also receive so much inspiration and excitement about what's possible. The more that the Native arts community can collaborate and communicate and address issues that are present in our world, in our life, the better, right?
I love that. That's wonderful. And we can watch, there's a whole long episode, so you can go to YouTube and Craft in America and all of that and watch all that. But Shelley, let's stick with you for a second, because one of the things we were talking about is that one of the challenges of working in traditional ways and working with traditional materials and this contemporary moment, sometimes some conflicts can come up. And just, I think it was last week, you and I were talking about something that happened with Etsy. So will you just sort of talk through this and just tee up this question, this issue?
Yeah, so one of the things that we kind of think about a lot, right, at IAIA is how do we take these traditional art forms? How do we really be innovative with these art forms and create new avenues for creating the art or new ways of doing it? But also, how do we maintain some of those more traditional artistic practices? And Etsy, if you haven't heard, has decided it's not going to sell anything that is made with animal fur. But a lot of our artists use animal fur. It's a traditional material that they do a lot of their work in. So that's going to take all of these Native artists out of their ability to sell some of their products on Etsy, right? So we're kind of closing that door on Native art in a way that, we maybe haven't thought about what's the best way to think about it. And we often are finding that when we think about, right, Native art in particular, right, there's always sometimes these limitations. People want to put it into a specific box. So it's not Native art unless it looks like Native art, right? It has the traditional Native aspects. But at the same time, Native art is growing. It's being innovative in the way that it's being offered to you. We have a new computer science program on campus, and students are able to kind of really think about what the future of art looks like for Native communities and what the future of art looks like in terms of how we tell our stories and keep those traditional practices going.
And Shelley, in other aspects of sort of the federal government, we do have carve-outs for Native folks and traditional materials. So in terms of all of us as advocates, as policy folks, we need to think about that, right? It's not always one size fits all. And this wouldn't be a sort of AFTA conference if we didn't at least spend a moment talking about money. Just say a word about how IAIA is funded and what that feels like in this moment.
So IAIA was chartered by the federal government, by Congress, in 1986. So 75% of our operational budget comes from Congress appropriations. Today is voting day in New Mexico. If you are a New Mexico resident, please go out and vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but it's important. The people who you vote for are the voices that are really going to help ensure that an institution like IAIA receives the funds that we need to continue the work that we're doing.
Thank you so much. Now, Ted and Paulette, one of the other things I'd love to talk about is a project that sort of is how the three of us met or spent some time together, which is about how knowledge is shared, right? And so in the traditions I come from, we think about things like case studies, we think about, stuff like that. And Ted, you were working with a set of communities across Turtle Island, the Muskogee people who are now in central Alabama, some Tlingit and Haida folk who are up in what is now called Alaska, and all of that. And we wanted to sort of share those stories and those learnings with folks. And I came to you and I said, can we commission IDPI, the Indigenous Design and Planning Institute, to do a series of case studies? And you said no, and you did something better. Will the two of you tell us that story?
So one of the things that is really important to us is the notion of voice and who represents that. And I think both myself and Paulette are really motivated by using our practice, our skills, in order to be able to facilitate that, whatever medium it is that we're working in. So it's really important, I think, from that standpoint, in order to be able to lend that voice and give that voice so that people themselves who already know what it is that they have to say about these things articulate it without that notion of translation. And I think too often in terms of colonialism, for example, even from the standpoint of American kind of scholarship, it's always been the expert in the room that listens and then says, this is what we've heard. Well, we've come of age to the point now where we can articulate ourselves, we are credentialed, and it's really then our role in order to make sure that everybody who's in the community then has that ability to be able to lend their own voice in what we call 7 generations planning. The idea of seeing yourself as the middle generation, acknowledging your parents, your grandparents, and your great-grandparents, and then planning for your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren. And that whole process then is so vital in terms of really building a representation for the future.
That's great. Now, Paulette, you take a lot of these oral traditions, a lot of these storytelling traditions, and you're a media maker. And in fact, as you and Ted were getting to know each other, he asked you once, are all Haudenosaunee people filmmakers? Just talk a little bit about being a native filmmaker, a native media maker, what you're doing and how that works.
Yeah, in our Haudenosaunee Confederacy, I kind of responded yes, because that is such a natural way for us to hand knowledge over. It's oral histories, it's visual, it makes so much sense for us. And that's why I'm so excited about Indigenous filmmaking, and I'm exploring how and why, why do we infuse Indigenous values into filmmaking, and how do we do that? Because you can have a production that's very mainstream with Indigenous actors, made by Indigenous people, and that's awesome. And then there's another level of thinking of filmmaking as community care and thinking of filmmaking as ceremony. Right? Thinking of architecture as ceremony, what does that even look like? And there are a number of filmmakers that are taking that, they're taking their filmmaking really seriously by the way they distribute. Like Zacharias Canuck created a whole economic vibe up in the Arctic around, he made the film The Fast Runner back in the early 2000s. And he's continued with that and consulting with the entire community as he makes his films. And so those are influences on me in the way that I make my films as well, because if you're making films with language infused, you have to have that right. You have to have the diacritics right. It's what our people deserve. The video and the filming have to be really beautiful. And then we have ceremony on set. Ted was in my first feature film, my first narrative film, and every day we started with the Ohanda Gariwadekwa, which is our opening ceremony. And what does that do? It's not just artifice. It really sets your intention. There is that orality. And then there's action that goes into making your film, and then what happens after you make it. It doesn't just go off to a distributor. We've been doing community tours with 4 of our Haudenosaunee films that have language and having discussions about language. So really wanting always to be in community when we're making, when we're doing, when we're distributing.
That's wonderful. So Ted, Paulette, Shelley, thank you so much for teeing us up. Thank you so much for the invitation to how we might want to spend the next few days listening and learning here in this community. If you want to stick close to Albuquerque, the IDPI, the Indigenous Design and Planning Institute at the University of New Mexico. If you want to go 7 lucky minutes away, Pueblo Isleta. If you want to go an hour away, Santa Fe. And if you want to come and visit Paulette and me in the northeast of Turtle Island,
Look us up in Toronto.
You're welcome to come up and see us in Takaranto to do that. So with that, please join me in thanking Ted, Paulette, and Shelley Lowe.
Please welcome to the stage AFTACON Team Lead for Americans for the Arts, Mandy Lee.
Little heated rivalry shout out for folks this morning. Woo! All right, good morning, everyone. Before I jump into some housekeeping notes, and I'm gonna go fast because I know we're running behind, I'd like to take a moment to thank and acknowledge our Native Advisory Committee who have been instrumental in planning this convention. They are Marcelina Ramirez, Margarita Paz Pedro, Yvonne Montoya, Elena Higgins, Kyle Harvey, and Delbert Anderson. Thank you so much for your guidance and your wisdom. Now to some logistics. If you are planning to attend the morning sessions at National Hispanic Cultural Center, that's the Arts and Humanities sessions, I'm gonna dismiss you at the end of your remarks to your buses. I'm gonna ask everyone else to stay here for just a moment so that we can get them loaded up. If you're not sure if you're going there, please check your app or your confirmation email. We will also have a manifest as you're loading the buses. For everyone else, when I'm done up here, you're invited to take a break and explore some of the incredible experiences we have for you today. You can visit the Artist Mercado outside these doors. I already have. I got these earrings. They're fabulous. You can stop by the chapel for poetry performances or head over to Hotel Chaco for our maker space where you can take part in hands-on art-making activities. They'll be available until 4 p.m. today, and you don't want to miss them. We do also want to note that our deep dive on public funding will begin here in this ballroom at 11 a.m. and that lunch will be served at 1 p.m. The food will be set up the same place breakfast was, right around the corner, and we have tons of seating outside on the patio. If you are staying at the hotel this morning, but you are going to the National Hispanic Cultural Center this afternoon for the afternoon sessions, please be back in this ballroom at 2:15. I'll help you load the buses then. I would also like to call to everyone's attention our participatory evaluation set up in the West Atrium. We want to invite you into a simple reflection that will build over our first day together. You'll see a shared build area with magnetic blocks. Each day has one question. You pick up a block, choose the response that feels most true for you, and place it there. That's it, no writing, no overthinking. Today's question is, what are you holding? As you move through the day, please stop, add your block, and take a look at what this community is carrying together. Bonus points if you connect with someone about what they're holding. And also, a reminder about tonight is our welcome party at the Albuquerque Museum. Woo! It begins at 5:30, and it's going to be a wonderful celebration of being together in community. Please make sure you wear your badge for entry. Very, very important. If you have any questions throughout the day, please stop by the help desk or connect with an AFTA staff. We're wearing these orange lanyards. If you haven't already, please download the AFTACON app. It is your hub for updates, push notifications, and maps for the week. And then before I let you go, I do also have to take a moment to thank the amazing volunteers who are making this week possible. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much to volunteers. Okay, if you are attending the National Hispanic Cultural Center this morning for the Arts and Humanities sessions, Mital and Tushar are in the back of the room to guide you to your buses. You may now exit. Everyone staying here, if you'll please stay seated for just a moment. We've got about 300 people we want to clear out and get on buses, but I promise I'll let you shop very shortly.